Good morning, everybody. All right, let's pile on in. 21. Blackjack. Now it's 20. We dropped off. I never get that. Why do people just log in and be like, yeah? And then, okay, we're back. 22. Thank you so much, Dave, the Philippian, again, Justin Henley, for the super chats. Much appreciated. I'm back from California. It was over a week, right? I left last Tuesday, and today's Wednesday. Was back teaching classes yesterday, but arrived late Monday afternoon. Had a wonderful time at the Diocesan Days with His Grace Bishop Maxim, all the priests, and our guest, Metropolitan Longying. Was wonderful to see all those who made it to the barbecue. On Friday, I got to surf Friday morning with my godson. And guess what? I still got it. I must have caught like 12 waves. It was incredible. I actually thought I was going to do bad. It's been 2 years since I surfed. And obviously my upper body's out of shape, but I didn't have a problem. Um, I was worried about getting injured. Especially I was worried about um, getting stung by a stingray, which happened to me once before. Not at that beach. I think it was at Huntington Beach at the cliffs or something. And I was talking to my godson, asking if like he had ever gotten stung. He said, "Yeah," and it's really interesting because I can't remember. This is probably like 6 years ago. I felt like I stepped on a piece of glass or a needle or something like that. Um, which didn't hurt too bad. Like it just felt like a cut or something like that. And I was like, oh, I'm like, well, that's not that. I knew it was a stingray. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't hurt that bad. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, okay, it was starting to like the pain just increased, and it just kept increasing and increasing. And I was driving home again. This was like 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, and I'm like, is this ever gonna stop? I'm like, this is actually really bad. I'm like, man, it just keeps going. And it wasn't even that bad. Like the ones that are really bad are the ones when the little spike breaks off, and that's when you have to go to the hospital. Anyways, I made sure to put on because where we went to was Seal Beach and the river, which is no like notorious for having like um stingrays. They call it like Ray Bay. And sure enough, like somebody down the beach actually did like pulling them out and stuff, and they my godson's like, well, how did they get hurt? And I'm like, they probably stepped on a stingray. Um, yeah, we don't have any urchin. Well, actually, we do. That I take that back. Maybe down in the tide pools, and I say we. I live in Montana now, but when I was in Southern California, it's usually the tide pools. I think the bad thing about urchins is they get stuck in there and they can grow. And um, I did a 360, but I didn't get to hang 10. The wave weren't set up well enough to. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. Got that done. Met with my godfather, godbrother, lots of friends. So it was a blessed time, and it was so cool just to log off, not answer. I'd set up all my courses. I told my students at the university and the colleges that I work at can't get a hold of me for a week. So get in any emails that you need to get in or questions before I leave because I'm not checking emails. Logged off for a week and just got to spend time in fellowship and got to see my brother. Got to take Father Russell and Father Panagiotis to my brother's studio, which was really great. And they really enjoyed that. All right, so that's that news. Back. No class, catechesis class tomorrow night. We normally do Thursday night. But we're having the wine festival at Holy Trinity, and my wife and I and parishioners are going to be serving there. And what else? We have Abbot Methodius. I think we have close to 40 men being interviewed for candidates to become monks. But Abbot Methodius is coming in the 22nd and 23rd. Going to interview the men at our monastery, St. Peter's, the 23rd. So pray for that. Okay, are you ready for the news? The news. This week only. We are offering. Excuse me. There's the frog in my throat. We are offering a very special, huge Canvas deal. Canvas courses this week only. The deal ends on the 21st. So you have less than a week to basically avail of this. Now remember, the Canvas courses, they're a full 16 week. Now you can, when you purchase those, you can go either week by week or do the go at your own pace. They are capable of being transferred to other colleges upon approval of the chair and the dean. Students that have been enrolled in previous Patristic Faith Canvas courses have done that. You also get free live office hours each week. Obviously, graded homework, quizzes, exams, papers, PowerPoint slides, textbooks. But you have to avail of this deal no later than the 21st. After that date, courses go back up to $850. Okay? The deal for the week, $200 off of any of the Canvas courses. So rather than paying $850, you pay $650 for a 16-week college university course. It's an asynchronistic course. Obviously, it's not in person. There are no live lectures because of people's work schedule. It's too hard to get all the students to commit to one day. So what it is pre-recorded university lectures and then check-in assignments and homework assignments throughout the week, graded stuff like that. So it's the best to tailor to your kind of schedule. That's what an asynchronistic course is. It means no live lectures and no in person. If I'm offering bundles, you can bundle 2 courses and save $800. So rather than so normally, and again, think about this, there are 3-unit courses. So what that means is by state and federal law, that is 3-hour lecture a week. Typically at the college and university, that's divided in 2 days. Some professors do like a 3-hour once a week. That's too much. Most of us professors teach a class 2 days a week. That's an hour and a half lecture each with 15-minute breaks. So it's usually an hour and 15-minute lecture. Standard full-time enrollment is 12 units. So to take 2 of these courses, only a 6 unit. And I'll tell you how I priced this. The cheapest colleges are community college. So let's say you're out of state, which you are. You don't live in Montana. The cheapest you could pay would be for a 3-unit course would be about $900 per course for a 3-unit course, not including registration fees. So for me to offer $850 is less than you'd get at the cheapest college. That's not to mention, I mean, look at this. You should see how expensive it is where I teach. It's $2,000 to $3,000 a course at the college I teach at. So me offering $850 for a university course is a great deal. But I'm bringing it down. Right? You take 2, so 2 courses would be $1,700. You're saving $800. You're paying for 2. If you bundle it, you take 2 courses, $900. Even cheaper, if you were to take 3 courses, so that's less than a full-time student. That's 9 unit semester. So it can be done, and especially if you're going at your own pace. 3 courses at the Patristic Faith Canvas would be $2,550. I'm offering that for a savings of $1,500. You can get, if you do a bundle, you can get 3 of those courses for $1,500. The good news is I just built out we have a brand new course, Philosophy of Science. All right, I'm going to share the screen. So if you come to, Lord, forgive me, where am I? Here, my Shopify, Patristic Faith. I'll put it in the chat. Father Ron, I heard you were coming. I hope everything was well. As you know, all the clergy were in the diocesan days. I'm so glad that you covered for Father Russell. So, thank you, Father, so much. And yeah, what a blessing to have you come down. And yeah, sorry I wasn't there, but it was a great time with Bishop Maxim and Metropolitan Longing. Okay, so if you go to there, the Patristic Faith Shopify, and I'll just pull it up on the screen here. Share, capture, window capture. So here's the new Philosophy of Science Canvas course. Now, keep in mind, these ones are not the Canvas courses, so don't get those. The reason why they're cheaper, some people don't want to actually do the actual college course and they just want the pre-recorded lectures. Well, obviously, I bring the price down. You can get a third or a full course of lectures there, which are usually 20 to 23 lectures, hour and a half lectures. Okay, so the Canvas courses that are available are the Philosophy of Science, the Logic and Critical Thinking, the Intro to Philosophy, Epistemology, or Ethics. if you want a bundle, here's the bundle. Here's bundle package A. You get 2 courses. So 1,700, you're paying 900, or 3 for 1,500 instead of 2,500. So again, those prices will change by on the 21st. So you can only avail of this 21st. We have some students signing up right now. So don't wait. Take advantage. You won't get this great of a deal. And then we'll start. I mean, you have to catch. We'll start on Monday. So hopefully everybody registers and pays for that by then who wants to sign up. So let your friends know, let anybody know that's interested in that. And okay, so that's that announcement. Let me just go through what, if you haven't seen, the Canvas course is. I really recommend signing up for the philosophy science. This is going to be great. But let me go through real quick and just show you what you're getting. Once you purchase, you'll get an email link to add on, and then you'll have your dashboard. This is what my dashboard actually looks like, but depends on how many courses. Let's say you registered for Introduction to Philosophy and Epistemology, right? You would see these two. And then you click on there. And this goes to a home page. You'll see recent announcements. Any upcoming activities that you need to do are listed there. Here are what we call SLOs, student learning outcomes, course objectives, the syllabus. It gives a breakdown of readings and homework assignments, how much the paper's worth, quizzes, attendance. Attendance only applies for those who are doing the week by week, and those attendances are basically what we call check-in assignments. They replace in-person attendance. So you need to check in and you answer some. So it's not just logging in to your Canvas account in the course, but you answer some questions. It's not a big assignment, but it shows that you. I mean, it's a challenge with the asynchronous course that you're not left behind and you're not just passive in your learning. So to log in, to look at something, to answer something keeps the students active. Typically, there might be a discussion question where you reach out to another student, you reach out to me, and then me reach back into you. So it keeps you in the loop and engaging in the material. Then there are the assignments. Typically, there's a project. Here's the grading scale. Here are the percentages, the required texts. Those texts are provided free of charge as electronic versions of the PDF. You can find those in your files section. Course schedule and outline. So you'll get a week by week where you're going in terms of the chapters. And the best part about this too, that makes it really easier, these things called modules. So your assignments are posted into a module and everything's collected in for that week. So you'll have, and they're published as you go week by week. That's what the green is. So this is a course that we just finished. And so that's why it's all green. Everything's published. But like, let's say the first week, you get the homework assignment is in your week 1 module. This is an introductory video, how to use Canvas. Here is a week 1 check-in. And other classes will have PDFs plugged in here. And it goes all the way down. Quizzes, let's say you get the first quiz in week 5, etc. And you can see all the way to quiz 3, final week. And then if you come into your files section, here is where you'd find, if you have PDFs, the textbook, other articles, things like that. Here's the free textbooks here. This is the Duncan Pritchard textbook, and this is the Bonjour. Discussion threads, quizzes, pages, etc. And then if you look at the home page, you click on here, it takes you to the lectures. I always tell people, don't watch them all at once. Again, the idea is for the first week, each lecture is an hour-and-a-half lecture minus 15 minutes for the state and federal law require a 15-minute break for each hour-and-a-half lecture. Basically, what you do is you divide this up. You watch 2 lectures, however you want to divide that up each week. This fits week 1's assignments, and then it goes through and you see all the way down to 22 lectures. You can check, I might compress this, grades, because you'll see I want to protect students' confidentiality and not show their names, but that's where you would check your grades. All right, so that's a Canvas, and then in the announcements, you get the live Zoom link. We do live office hours on Zoom every Monday night. And then you come in, we discuss all kinds of great stuff. And it's always more than an hour. That's what's great. That itself, that type of tutoring, right? That's worth $3,000. So even if you didn't get all this, just the live office hours and tutorings, you could reach out to any of the students that have taken it and ask them, is it worth it? They'll tell you just the office hours alone is worth the price. And the fact that we have now colleges accepting this for transfer, and it's pretty easy. You just get it signed off by the chair of the department. You just reach out to your local college and the dean, get it signed off by the dean. They contact me. I send them my syllabus and credentials and show that this is these are all courses taught at accredited colleges and universities. We've had no problem signing it off, and they get, basically it gets accredited through their signatures, whatever that. So it's not accredited in itself yet, but it's a pretty easy process for your local college or university to basically sign off, and they accredit it and accept it. They basically accept it as a transferable class. So that's been a huge plus and kind of move forward that we're really happy about. I think that's it on that. So don't forget, you have a week to avail of this deal. Then they're all going back up to $850. So I'm trying to get an incentive for all you guys to sign up so we can start this Monday. Any questions about that? I use I think if this one's from the Colorado. Pretty good. Father Yulian uses this one too, other priests. There, look at we just went over all the costs. So I'll put the link again. There's the courses. Normally they're $850 a course for 16-week full university course. I'm giving $200 off. If you get two courses, 800 and $1,500 off if you do three courses. It's so weird going from surfing, and I came back and I have like 6, 7 inches of snow on my car. It's all melting right now. It's starting to heat up. It's 37. All right. Other questions? Seven notifications on. Let's see. Thank you, everybody, yesterday for sending in their best wishes for a Happy Names Day yesterday. For St. Ananias the Apostle. It's also good, by the way, seeing my spiritual father. That was a blessing when I went back to California. Oh my gosh, dude. Mormons are rising up again. Yeah, Canvas can be accessed by the phone. Good question. And you have access to that. So even after you complete the course, you still have access. You can go back and retrieve any of those. Don't forget, too, the Athens and Jerusalem Conference in Florida, Palm Coast, Florida, at the end of November. What is it? November 21st or 2nd? I can't remember. I have to look. Looking forward to that. I'm back and start working on my paper. No, it never matters what jurisdiction you choose. You're not baptized as laity into a jurisdiction. You're baptized in the Orthodox Church. You go to the parish that best works for you. That's inevitably a jurisdiction, but you don't need a release to go to another church. Another jurisdiction. So you guys don't have to worry about that. You're always free. So find the best local parish, best community, best priest that gives the best pastoral care. Okay, other questions? We're going to have an early ski season. They're already blowing snow and getting ready at our local ski resort, Great Divide. Super excited about that. Um, that's a good question. Did any Eastern Patriarch ever confirm or speak favorably of the Filioque? Don't know. I mean, the problem with the history of the Filioque, where's my Shushansky book? I'd have to look. Is that early on, it wasn't clear what it meant, what the Latins meant by that. So if there was any... So Patriarch Tarsius was in the Seventh Ecumenical Council. Let's see what he said. He says, quote, "The Holy Spirit is not from the Father and the Son according to the most true and holy rule that proceeds." Okay, so Patriarch Tarsius definitely doesn't. Let me go back earlier. Late 7th century, the 6th Ecumenical Council, Pope Agatho, but that's the Pope. This is all the Latin West. I'm not finding anything. And again, as we get closer, as we start going into the Frankish kingdom and the 7th and 11th centuries, it becomes more clear that the Latin West is doubling down and moving farther away from anything to be reinterpreted, right, to be compatible with Orthodoxy. And so by those centuries, it's clear in the East, nobody's accepting that. Whereas in times past, and it basically becomes solidified, the last chance is basically the Council of Florence, and where it's like, well, okay, if we can allow, if what you mean in the filioque is through, but not hypostatic origin, we're fine with that. And there was an agreement, and then they kind of backpedaled at the last minute and basically said, no, it is hypostatic origin, and the sun is a cause as well on that, and that's why councils eventually rejected. And let's see, by Mark of Ephesus, and then later when he goes back, then the people, right, accept Mark of Ephesus, and then later the patriarchs realize, no, it was a mistake to sign off. And by the way, that's Roman Catholics, I say that's an ecumenical council. It doesn't even fulfill the conditions of ecumenical council. Not all sees were represented, right? For something to be ecumenical, it all has to be represented there. It has to be true. It has to be in concordance with. It's not just, well, we just this magical gathering, and that's what makes it binding. So the Roman Catholics never seem to get this. Daily gospel readings are not the same for both calendars. I don't know what the new calendar is on right now. And part of this goes back to the confusion of how they define person. They define persons as relations. Persons are not relations, right? There's a relation between persons. That's why we define the unique hypostatic properties that define the person, and they're not relations of opposition, because persons aren't relations, they're persons. And that's what leads to a lot of these kinds of problems. Um, the Saint Maximus stuff is some of the stuff was forgeries that they use. Um, we have other, and you have this here in chapter 4 of the Shishensky book as well. Where he argues against it. St. Augustine, it originates from like the idea, the seeds of the filioque are in Augustine. So yeah, like he no on Saint Gregory of Nyssa, and again, it's not clear early on what is actually implied in the Latin's version of the filioque. That's what the debates are actually about. So to cite Gregory Nyssa, like that doesn't even make sense because it didn't get to the point where it was so solidified and clear that they had two causes, double hypostatic procession in that formula. So it's stupid. And second of all, it doesn't matter what an individual saint said. Individual saints can be wrong about. So this is just a Protestant way of, it's consensus of the fathers. Is it true? That's the other thing. This cherry pick and reinterpret what the fathers are saying. Well, like we'll say, it's like, well then, I mean, what does it say? If the filioque is solidified now in the Latin West is wrong, what point does it bringing up any of these saints? That would just mean what follows from that, they got it wrong. Great saints get great things. They're not saints because they got a 100% on their theology exam. They're saints because they're holy. That's why we consider Saint Augustine a saint. He was holy. He got a few things wrong. He was really good on some stuff, but so it's just a weird kind of Protestant. They love the forgeries. And then number two, it's condemned by like Black Rene, and which represents the universality and infallibility of the church as a whole, right? So it doesn't matter what you say, Roman Catholics on the like, it's condemned. All right, let's see if we have any more super chats. All three of us are live right now. Well, Jim Bob's always on at the same time. I don't want to talk with him. All right, so what's up with the Mormons rising up again? Like, isn't it funny that heretics like, and then just crazy people in general. They'll quiet down and then they rise up, and they quiet down, and oftentimes there's like a trigger to it, but mm, all right. Any questions before we go? I'm gonna pull up the Mormon stuff in just a second. All right. Let's go to X. Did you know the religion that was taught in the Garden of Eden is on Earth right now, and you can join it? It's called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What a joke, dude! What a Did you know that Adam and Eve believed in a polytheistic Muslim space cult religion? They're like bots, though. I think some of these people, I think we found out they're actually paid to. Oh, yeah. They're restorationalists. They believe the great apostasy. And it only took 1,000 years to. Yeah, great apostasy literally cope. Anything I don't like, just throw the term great apostasy on there too. It's an ad hoc rescue, and it begs a question. That's where you have to, like, why prove it? Because I put it in there, because if I don't put it in there, it won't save my position. Then you get these morons, religion's all a construct of man. What a stupid, like, how do you get this stupid? Well, how about I do this? Okay, then orthodoxy is not a religion because it's obviously not a construct of man. Bam. Number two, how about your statement's a construct of man for you to find meaning in light of being wrong? Talk about another ad hoc rescue right there. I just made up that anything that contradicts my unjustified and false beliefs, I just say that's a construct, a man. Carm. There's Matt Slicks. Yeah, it takes a special kind of gullibility to believe in that rubbish. All right. Um, but yeah, they're out for some reason. I love that Jim Bob trolls the Mormons. Jay Dyer calls me out. All right. Oh yeah, needgod.net. So Chase is retweeting his lies. Oh, there was something interesting about, these pictures, like the mug shots. They'll have like all the Antifa. We should do a David Patrick, analyze David Patrick's stream on that. That's a good. Okay, anyways, back to my point. They have like, I don't know, like 20 mug shots Antifa. Like 60% of them are trans. But they all have like scabs on their face and I was like, so not only is it just dysgenics, like one of the guys like had a burnt off face. I couldn't believe it. They have the colored hair and stuff like that. So not only is it anti-beauty movement and dysgenics. I was looking at, I'm like, that's meth. So what that means is most of these Antifa are already criminals, right? They're probably not even ideologues themselves. They're probably addict criminals, and they get paid to go to these and be Antifa members. Who is this guy? Russian agent confirmed. All right. 1 second. Check in on the chat. Snow cookies, $5. Question in the chat. Which question in the chat? Do we get? Oh, you had a question in the chat. 1 second. Yeah, they're paid. Mormons are paid. But where is the question I'm looking for? Oh, here. In the Eucharist, we truly consume the body and blood of Christ, and the divine person, Jesus Christ, contains the divine essence. No, you do not consume the divine essence. Remember, the energies are really God, and the energies are inseparable from the divine essence, right? So you come in contact with the divine essence through the divine energies. Both are God, but you're not consuming the essence. Does that make sense? You're partaking of the divine energies, and through the divine energies come in contact with God's essence, but God's essence always remains unseen, unsensed, like in an inapproachable light. But they're not divorced from so the way that we come in contact, we don't circumscribe it, we don't consume it. And it actually says that too in always eaten, never consumed. There's a great line. Let me see if I can find it. I don't have these memorized because I'm not the priest. Yes. Divided and distributed is the Lamb of God who is divided, not disunited. So notice it's transcending the antinomies. Who is ever eaten, yet never consumed. So notice you already have the essence energies in there. Right? The essence is one. It's not composed, it's not divided. Energies are multiplied. But they're also one. They're in one, right? And they're in hypostatic too. Even in the person of Jesus Christ, fully God and fully man, fully united but distinct, you have the same kind of formula. So right at the communion, the priest is even talking about that. So, but no, there's no way you can consume the essence. Never consumed. Yeah, Jim Bob keeps poking them. Let's see, 1 second. YouTube. Christian apologetics. Let's see what Patrick is doing.
Understanding ontology, being itself, these things were sort of different categories. What we're saying with Christ is that, no, these things are united, that being itself, truth itself is a person. It is the Logos, which is both a metaphysical reality, but also a person, an eternal person. And so reason is not autonomous, but healed and illumined by grace. That's what the church is trying to do. It's a hospital for the soul.
Crispy.
We truly believe, and this is why it's
in the
important for apologists to actually be faithful, observant, Orthodox Christians, because in our theology, the more that your nous is cleansed, the more that you can actually utilize your rational faculties to a higher degree. And so as we are clouded by our own sin, that detritus clouds our noetic faculties. And so reason then is not autonomous, right? You can't just live a debaucherous life and think, well, look how rational I am. I can come to all these conclusions. We would say, no, absolutely not. If you're living a debaucherous life and you're some, rationalist, well, you probably believe in a bunch of weird things. And then a la Sam Harris, is getting his COVID booster still today and believes every, propaganda narrative that the mainstream media articulates. That's not somebody, he thinks of himself as highly rational, but how come he's so blind to everything that happens?
People are
we would argue that has to do with a spiritual reality in which the Holy Spirit and the uncreated energies of God are not illuminating and bringing clarity to his perspective of reality, but actually
it's all admitted. The mass didn't work.
And so the role of the Holy Spirit, genuine apologetics, depends not merely on logic, but on spiritual illumination. The Spirit transforms human reasoning, allowing it to perceive the Logos in creation. And
I think I made, I was going to show, is it a bookmark? Let's see, it's probably a bookmark that I placed. Yeah, let's watch this. ABC, Normie News.
Have experience with this type of vaccine in billions of people. It's a safe vaccine. Of course, with the mRNA, there's a very, very, very low risk, particularly in young men, of getting a myocarditis. But if you look at the risk of myocarditis from COVID
So he
itself
already knew
is greater
all the way
than
back then
the risk of the vaccine. Again,
that it causes myocarditis, and yet these people are denying that. What is... I thought I had some other... Here's another one. Forgive me, let me go back. Gotta get this.
Is ineffective for the first 6 weeks after the first shot. I'm assuming a two-shot, a two-dose vaccine like Pfizer or Moderna. And that during that period, the COVID infection rate goes up and the death rate goes up. And the data, the official data, do not count you as vaccinated until 2 weeks after the second shot. So the deaths that happened during that first 6 weeks are attributed to unvaccinated people, to the unvaccinated.
Isn't that interesting? So they're jabbed, but notice how they work out the statistics to lie to you. Well, we'll just count that group is not jabbed, but they're dying from the jab, right? The first, and then they could say, well, the deaths are attributed to the unjabbed because they hadn't had their second booster.
Which is it's a trick. It's a statistical trick.
Yeah.
Then the vaccine appears to provide immunity and good immunity during the first month or 2 months, and then a precipitous decline, a waning that happens very, very quickly and very precipitously, so that by the 7th month, it has lapsed into negative efficacy. And what that means is that after 7 months, if you had that vaccine, you are more likely to get COVID than somebody who has never been vaccinated.
I got it once. I got the coof once. Never been jabbed. People have had it 5 or 6 times. Guess what? They're all jabbed.
And this data is holding up across every country in the world.
See? Yet they're still calling us conspiracy theorists. Here is Dr. Malone, the inventor of the mRNA, one of the inventors.
2 major pharmaceutical industry lobbying groups. One is called Pharma and the other is called Bio. Pharma is more biased towards, let's say, petroleum-based compounds, and Bio is more biased towards vaccines, biologics, and of course the RNA products. Bio's the smaller of the two. Bio has a total war chest for lobbying and influencing of about 4 million. And a memo was leaked a little while ago from a recent meeting held at Bio. They have not denied this in any way, that they decided to deploy 2 million of their 4 million war chest with the specific objective of having the secretary fired by the end of September. And they specifically said that they were going to deploy a wide range of technologies to achieve this. One of which, by the way, is the purchasing of influencers. The going rate, by the way, is $1,000 a post. Purchasing, in particular, of conservative influencers to post things that would advocate against the interests of Baja and against the interests of the secretary, and advocate that the secretary be fired by the president. So when you see all of these harmonized messages coming out from corporate media, the first thing you should note when you see that signal is that somebody, some power, some force of money, pressure of money is behind that, Because otherwise you get these articles pop up spontaneously, randomly at different points in time. When you see all this come as a pressure.
This one's great too.
There's 25% of Americans who believe that they know somebody who was killed by a COVID vaccine.
Killed?
Killed. 25% of Americans, 52% of Americans believe that the vaccines are causing injuries, including death. 52%. Oh, if you look at the clinical trial studies, the actual studies that were done that were released of the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna has not released it. If you look at the Pfizer vaccine, there were 22,000 people in the placebo group, 22,000 people who got the actual vaccine. And the people who got the vaccine had a 23% higher death rate from all causes at the end of that study.
But that could not be the disease itself?
No, well,
because we know that
if it is, then the vaccine doesn't work, does it?
Well, it's only. Well, no, that's not. That's
refuted. There's a boy Chase right there. Yale study. Right. So it's all their own stuff. Their own news. Yale, it's not like I said, fringe studies, and these people are still doubling down. All right, I'm trying to find another. There was some other, I must have saved it somewhere else, so let's look. Marty Curtis trap base. That's what's crazy about California was crazy. I sat next to a lady with a mask on, and they looked terrified. And it's just like, we all know now. Like, there's no excuses anymore. Like, maybe I grant the excuse, like, they can't prevent the spread of the coof and droplets, but they still they're still wearing them. It is, a parishioner of mine said, it broke people. That psyop that they did broke people. They're still wearing them, like, it was all over, like, in California. I mean, occasionally you see it up here in Montana, somebody wearing a mask. Where is the... Stanford-led study finds coof jabs. Let's see. Oh, that's not the article that I'm looking at for. Did I save a picture of it? Where is it? One second. Remember Jimmy Kimmel said that people who didn't take the jab deserve to die? That was crazy. Henry Ford found that jab versus unjab study, kids had 453% more neurodevelopment disorders, 57 were chronically ill after 10 years, 496% more autoimmune disease, 453% more neurodevelopment disorders, 329% more asthma, 203 more ectopic disease. Unjabbed children had 0 cases of brain dysfunction, ADHD, learning disabilities, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's not the one I was looking for, but I'll try to find. D-sign, $10. St. Stephen's was packed Sunday. That was an incredible experience. My first liturgy. Yeah, great to see you, brother. Thanks for the invite. Thank you for visiting St. Paul's in Irvine. Yeah, that's Father Steve. I think it's had a lot older. I would say check out St. Barnabas in Costa Mesa. I think you find that a good fit. St. Stephen's in Alhambra's great. The Nativity, Father Blasco's parish is great. That's where my godfather Gary goes to. The original priests, like Father Michael and Father Wayne, who reposed in the Lord, were part of Campus Crusade. Yeah. Yeah, the mask have become a fashion and actually a whole identity too. But California's a weird. I mean, I'm down at the beach, right? And you almost forget about just how insane California is. It's beautiful. My godson and I are like, just look at that view. We're looking down the coast, right? There's no wind. You can see Saddleback Mountain in the background. And it's just, first of all, Seal Beach is a really cool town. I would think in Orange County, if I had to live, I'd live, obviously, I mean, if you could afford it, somewhere like Seal Beach. South County is really cool, but it's actually more populated. And it's got a different vibe too. You got the element of kind of like, richer people and stuff like that. But Seal Beach is like a town of 35,000 people. It's got a really cool vibe. Little to no crime. Obviously, it's more affordable than Newport and, Laguna and San Clemente and stuff like that. So you're there and you almost forget how crazy. By the way, from Garden Grove, that's the fastest beach to get to. We got there in like 25 minutes, 20. So that's cool. And then Orange County's changed a lot. They built these high density apartments you see popping up all through Orange County. And then ADAs. So now the law is you can build 4 houses on a piece of property. And so my neighborhood that I grew up in, still nice, kind of suburbia neighborhood. It has changed. A lot of people that are buying these are Asian families with cash, paying over the price. And so there's obviously a lot of Asians had in in the neighborhood that I grew up in, which is fine. But it's just, it changes. But the thing that was weird is seeing homes that had like 8, 13 cars in the driveway. Because why? Because they have ADAs. Like, there's multiple families and people living in 4 homes on a property that back in the day was just one house. Like, that kind of blew my mind. And then I go onto the freeway to drive up to, Saturday night for Vespers to St. Stephen's Cathedral, and it's just no traffic. When I came back that night, 35 minutes from Alhambra to Garden Grove. On the way up, an hour. And people were crazy driving. I just felt like somebody's going to crash into me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't miss the politics. And just how crazy everybody is. Like, so despite how wonderful the beach is, like, there's no way that I could ever move back to California. Fabian 999, thank you. Father, asking for someone else. Can you recommend a church in Florida Boca del Rey area? I have no idea who's down in that area. Do you know what, by the way, if I was a business owner, I would actually be tempted to put a sign up, no mass, like, you're not welcome to come into, don't want your business. I mean, this is crazy that these people still believe it's like 2020 and still living in. There's a infamous priest, I'm not going to mention his name, that caused nothing but problems, still calling all of us who are right about all of this. So now there's no excuse. It's, like I said, it's all over mainstream normie establishment, legacy media, right? All the stuff's published from Yale, from John Hopkins now, that vindicate everything I was saying. All you people trying to destroy my lives because I was actually trying to save lives, interesting enough. All the hate that I got and some of the other priests because we spoke up against this, we're all vindicated, right? And yet you have this guy still calling us anti-vaxxers, conspiracy theorists, like, in this day and age. That's like, they're gone. Like, it's just like, I don't even know how that's possible to get that far out and brainwashed. I mean, I do, but oh yeah, cameras everywhere. Food was more expensive. I noticed that. Food and drinks. Wednesday night, my brother came down with his wife, and my dad and we went to Market Broiler. And we got there a little bit before my brother, and so it was like, oh, it's happy hour. So we went to the bar, and I bought my dad coconut shrimp, a Diet Coke. I got 4 oysters in the half shell, and an IPA beer. $40, dude. Happy hour prices. I was like, holy smokes. So that was, I want to find that thing that, that thing that, yeah. All right, hold on. I'm going back up to my saved. I could have sworn I bookmarked it, and unless I sent it to you. I do that, or I send it to somebody in a message or something like that. And then, because there's so many different social media platforms, then you don't know where you sent it is the problem. Maybe I sent it in that. Isn't that frustrating? It's like when I try to find a book, like when I'm doing office hours behind me, and it's like you can never find. Like I have no idea where I put that. Maybe I sent it in a. Let me look real quick on a Facebook instant message to somebody. Forgive me. Put your questions in though. Jabs have been linked to 6 forms of diseases. Study. That's not it. All right, I can't find it. We'll let it go. West Huff. Dear Lord. Orthodox will become Protestant after read. All right, Wes. These people only respond to force, and like obviously, I think the people who are complicit, even employers and stuff like that, should be jailed, fined, make sure this never That's the only like. There's no amount of. I mean, their own stuff is now saying it, and they're still like, oh, eyes wide shut. Won't admit it. What they do admit is when it's like, well, you're going to jail for it. Did you fire an employee? Did you force people to wear a mask or get a jab? Like, go to, like, have them, put them in jail. They'll get that. They'll be like, oh, I was wrong. That's when people only respond to, they don't respond to arguments anymore. They respond to the force of law. Like that saying, to my friends, everything. To my enemies, the law. Like, lock them up. Find them. Make sure these people are never in positions of authority or power ever again. They'll learn the lesson. People, for all the libtards and leftoids, will roll right over and accept the position, right? Once they realize you're going to jail, like for. And I would actually argue that's actually love. That's the most loving thing. It's the best thing. Love is not meekness and doing whatever the other person says and wants, right? That is probably the best for their own salvation, the force of the law, like that they're held accountable, that they can sober up in jail and repent of what they did. All right, let's see if we have any more super chats. Oh, do you want to hear a crazy story? So, D sign. So you remember the deacon that we ordained, which was really cool. We had 6 deacons. I didn't even count how many priests we had. We had 2 bishops. I mean, what, 13, 15 priests? 6 deacons. Remember when we were lined up on how awesome that looked? Let me see if I can find a photo of. Yeah, check this out. Such a blessing. I'm so glad I went. Capture. Telegram. I put it in our church Telegram. Here's the proto deacon. Here's second deacon. That's me. But yeah, he outranked me. The new deacon, Paul, here. And then, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hero deacon. Isn't that cool? At the cathedral. Oh man, I hate when I do that. I scroll up too far. There's the ordination of Deacon Paul. You can see Father Paul here in the altar from San Diego, who comes up to serve here in the Helena area. And then I'm walking out to do the next litany. But I'm going to tell you something about Deacon Paul that I found out. And there's the Slava outside. There's Metropolitan Longing, myself, and there's the deacon right there waiting to get ordained, doing his prayers before Christ. But the reason why I took this photo with Deacon Paul, I got to show you this story. At the lunch in the banquet afterwards, I don't know how it was brought up, but he mentioned St. Barnabas. And I'm like, yeah, I was baptized in St. Barnabas. Father Turbo and Father Deacon Michael Tubbs. A lot of us who are clergy now from St. Barnabas. And he was like, oh yeah, I used to go, but I was a man of a different cloth. He was like, I was a Lutheran pastor. And then he mentioned Stella. He was like, oh yeah, Stella would invite me. And I'm like, I know you. Some 12 years ago, I remember this was before I was ordained. And maybe it was further back than 12. That would have been 2013. About 12 years ago. I got that right. He came and I thought he was I thought he was an Orthodox priest because he was he was dressed obviously more conservatively as a Lutheran pastor and the cassock, and then he had a cross. And I went to go get a blessing because I thought he was an Orthodox priest. And he was like, no, I'm not an Orthodox priest. He's an LCMS pastor 12 years ago. And I was like, well, I came out of the Missouri Synod, and we had a chat and stuff. And he would, I know he was inquiring, and I prayed for him. I've constantly prayed, like, God forgive me, not every day, but like he'd come in my mind, and I'm like, may the Lord bring him into the Orthodox Church. And he did. Yeah, I didn't see him 12 years. And I'm actually the one holding his arms as he's prostrating and taking him around the altar. Two Lutheran Missouri Synod guys that meet 12 years ago, right? Think about this from like a cosmic view, that God's like, these two guys are going to be ordained. And in fact, Deacon Ananias is going to be part of his ordination 12 years later at St. Stephen's Cathedral. Think about how mind-blowing that is. And I was just so happy. I was like, I can't believe this. This is amazing. And so that was one of the most amazing experiences and stories of this last week. I'm like, you've been on my heart all these years, and I've been praying for you, for your conversion, let alone I had no idea you'd be ordained to the priesthood. And by the way, this comes up all the time. I just saw something the other day, like, Father Deacon claims to be a priest. Deacons are priests, you morons. Everybody knows I've never claimed and tried to fool people that I'm not a deacon priest. It's Father Deacon Ananias. Deacons are priests. They get hierotonia. Even the Greek word for priest, the one who offered. What am I doing when I hold up, right? I'm with the priest offering. Now, I can't do everything the presbyter can do. But like, these people are more like anything, any lies, they don't care. And first of all, suppose I was wrong. Doesn't mean I'm lying about that I'm a priest. It means I was told wrong. My bishop, my seminary professors, and all the priests who told, like, don't blame me. Like, suppose I was wrong about that. Deacons are not priests. That's not my fault. That's because my bishops and the clergy and professors told me that. Now, who am I more likely to believe is right versus wrong? Some rando hater on the internet, or the bishops, the seminary professors, and all the clergy? And I mean, not even all clergy know that. But it's just, anyways, Deacon Paul is ordained to the priesthood. So when I say that, now I've stopped using that and identifying myself because it's confusing. I'm like, obviously it's not helpful. It just gives my enemies ammo. But we've all known I've been FDA from the very beginning. Yeah, stop listening to trolls. That's what my wife says. It takes a woman's counsel to put me back on the right track. Amen. But I can't do Father Bless. I can't bless. I can bless food just as laity can, but I can't give you a blessing. I can't give you a blessing from the chalice if you're an inquirer either. I have to. People always think they've done something wrong. We have so many people at our parish. We have 2 chalices. And inevitably, catechumens or inquirers come up to my line, and I'm like, you got to go over to the next. And they're like, what did I do wrong? I'm like, we start right there by asking that question, is where you went wrong. No, I said, I can't give, when the priest holds up and you kiss the chalice, say, may the Lord bless you. I can't do that. So I can't actually say, may the Lord bless, and give you a blessing and say, Father bless. So just, not everybody knows that. It's not a big deal. I'm not offended or anything like that. Yes, deacons are priests, but the deacons do not have the authority and the ranking that the presbyter has. And so I can't get blessings. I can't consecrate the Eucharist by myself. I can administer the Eucharist after it's consecrated. I can offer it. Thine own of thine own, when the priest says. Only when the priest is there. So a priest is one who offers. So a deacon is a priest when he offers the prayers. I can walk through the royal door. That's a priest, right? That does that. But I can't do confession. I can't bless. I can't consecrate the Eucharist, etc. So just so you know. Yeah, I'm just so blown away. Thank God for that wonderful ordination and that I was part of it. These people are crazy, especially you know what's really crazy that have just come unhinged is the true genuine Orthodox folks. Do you know that like 85% of that, I'm throwing a number out there. I don't know actually what the percentage have mental illnesses. Most of these people don't go to church because how many schismatic parishes, Orthodox parishes are there? And these are people who have mental illnesses, online keyboard warriors, puritanical Donatists and they're often deceptive, even among the priests. Like, how many times do they come on and say, I'm an Orthodox priest? And they trick you into thinking that they're actually Orthodox, that they're not schismatic. They're constantly doing that. Who else does that? Mormons do that. This is all cult-like mentality, like, oh, we're Christian too. And they always like, you know that you're... we believe the same thing. There's another group that does... a lot of Orientals do that too. Pretend to be... they're not forthright and transparent about who they are. Why? Because they're trying to capture you and deceive you and pull you into their cult. That's a cult-like tactic. I love just, God forgive me, for that guilty pleasure. Love kicking the hornet's nest of the true genuine Orthodox. Their hate towards me makes me stronger. The more that you hate me, the more it just makes me realize I'm doing the right thing. I wouldn't kiss the deacon's hand. I know there's a Russian tradition because the deacon holds the Eucharist. I've never... there might be certain Greek areas in Greece that do that. I just push it aside. That's no offense to you. Like, people always think that... and by the way, a priest will do that of the bishop. They'll push your hand down. And people came to me like, what did I do wrong? I'm like, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just... that's what... the bishop's there. You don't get a blessing from the priest. It's an offense to the bishop. Yeah, think about it too. And they deny our saints. Some great saints. Saint Paisios. Right, some of our best. And they don't have any saints. Like, they don't... notice they're not... if it's the end of the world, and they're totally exactly like the Sedevacantists. A mentality... and it's the end of the world, the church has gone apostate, we're the true last ones left, and yet I've never seen any... like, you'd think that they'd be producing like tons of saints. It's like, they're not. They're dogs. Like, they're snakes. Like, most... I'm not saying every single one of them, but generally speaking, like, there's a mentality of them that it's just like... and just like that, oh, they're so nice until I call them out, right? And then they're activated and the demon comes out, just like the Mormons. Oh, but they're so nice. Call their theology out. Tell them they're wrong, right? and watch what happens. The mask and the facade comes off. We don't have any in Montana. They've got Etna in California. They've got, and by the way, they do produce good books, though. I'll tell you, I'll be charitable, but like, you do good. The Life of the Virgin Mary is a great book. They've got one, they obviously got a thing out of in Colorado, and then I think on the East Coast, but there's hardly any. There might be one in Alaska. I don't know. I just love blocking them. I love kicking the hornet's nest and be like, there you are, blocked. They hate it. Yeah, the group in Colorado. They produce great books. Like, not gonna lie. And they're liars. They literally lie about the history of the church. Caught them several times. They cherry pick the canons. They lie about the canons. They pull out certain. It's like they don't read beyond where it basically condemns their position right after that famous one that they quote. I'm like, they're snakes, man. Like, they're. And we know what the fathers and the saints talk about schismatics, like what an evil that is. Like, so I think they bring something upon them when you schism. Like, you're out of the ark, like, and you're under demonic influence. Block bucks, yes. Oh, I have a question about blocking. Thank you, Planet Tour TV, $10. So I know how to block. Let's say if there's some wacko that comes into the chat, how to block them. Is it possible to, like, for example, you read on other people's YouTubes and you're like, here's a guy that definitely needs to be blocked, and on the comments section, I haven't found out a way. Can you block them? Yeah, they lie about Father Seraphim Rose. You find they're nicer than Muslims and Scientologists? Have you called them out? Call them out and watch how they. I mean, maybe there's a few that are kind of humble and don't activate, but. All right, back to work. Blessings. So anybody know? I can't just go onto somebody's YouTube channel and block them. Yeah. No, just from a chat. Okay. What can you do? All right. Here's a funny one. If you haven't seen this, let's do some humor. Let's lighten the mood. A little bit, shall we? Shall we? Okay, ready? This is the Babylon Bee making a joke about if the crucifixion and resurrection were a hoax. This is such a great refutation of stupid atheist Redditeur. Oh, it was all conspiracy and a hoax, right? He never raised from the dead. But watch this. This is great. Great satire to refute Redditeur atheism.
Are we all here? I need 100% participation for this to work.
Yeah, everyone's here. All 12. 11. 11 of us. What's the plan?
Well, as you know, Jesus is dead. But stick with me, okay? Stick with me. I have a plan. We are going to steal his body.
Okay, I'm tracking with you. What's next?
And then we're going to tell the whole world that he rose from the dead.
Oh, you know I'm in.
I love it already.
All right, classic. Then what?
And then we're all going to get brutally murdered.
Yes. Wait. Come again. Could you go over that last part real quick?
Oh, what? We get murdered. What's the problem?
I like it. I like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Pete. I love me a good hoax as much as the next guy, right? What's in it for us? Do we all get riches, fame, and fortune first, right?
No, get this. You're going to be hated, persecuted, and reviled for the rest of your life.
Okay, guys. Okay, fellas. Look, I gotta be missing something here, right? Okay? I mean, why on earth would we do this? Can we start over?
Okay, we'll start from the beginning. Everybody for John,
The beloved disciple.
So, okay. We go down to Jesus' tomb.
Sounds good.
This is really easy.
Then we pay off the Roman soldiers that are guarding the tomb with their lives.
Why would they do that?
Then we somehow roll away the big stone that's in front of the tomb.
Obviously, you have to move the rock first. Duh.
And then we steal his body.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Then we tell the whole world that he rose from the dead, and we get brutally murdered for our troubles!
Epic prank, bro.
Peter, you rock! Okay, guys. Okay, and then what?
Then we all get killed. Come on.
When do we see ourselves become exalted and praised?
That's just it. You don't!
What is happening? Anyone hear what I'm saying? This is the most idiotic plan of all time!
Chill out, bro. I mean, do I really have to explain the joke to you? Look, it's that we lie about Jesus' resurrection, and then we all die.
How am I supposed to chill out when our heads are getting cut off? Or worse, what is wrong with you guys? Thomas! Okay, look, back me up here. I know you can't be cool with all this. I know you gotta have some doubts. Come on.
doubts?
I will never have any doubts again!
Okay, you guys have officially lost it, okay? I am out of here. I'd rather be exiled to a deserted island than spend another minute with you wackos.
Have I got some good news for you?
Isn't that a great reputation of the stupid Reddit atheist? That's great. I like that. I forgot I had that saved, so I was going to share that humor. Whew. I'm reading. I don't know Archimandrite Sirius Boyer. Yeah, maybe he's bringing a relic of a saint. Yeah, Mulvan's petition for could be for various things, for the debts, for the best critique of Neoplatonism is its accidentalism. The one is not a person, right? So they can say that the one sustains all things, it's the good, and emanates by necessity, etc. But it's not a mind, it's not a person, and therefore, oh man, my foot, my ankle's been hurting for some reason. What proceeds from it, if it's not right, if intention requires a mind and direct, like a goal, right? The one has there's no intentionalism on the one. If there's no intentionalism, then it's accidentalism, accidental necessity. Do you see? Accidental knowledge, it's self-defeating. That's the best argument against Neoplatonism. Accidentalism, it's a tight, quick argument against like most things. But good question. Yeah, you can clip my videos. I don't care. I would like clips, actually. I'd appreciate that. I need more of that. All right. Other questions, news. I want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Anonymous donates $10. Good work. Can you speak about Constantinople? Bartholomew is controlling our... Well, I'm not a fan of Bartholomew. I mean, he's still, in terms of his episcopacy, a legitimate bishop. Like, but he's a State Department controlled Turkish controlled, UN controlled patriarch. So everything has to be analyzed through those lens. I saw some normie priests, like, God forgive me for like judging them, but like I can judge the argument. So, you know, like the Pope wants to unite with the Orthodox Church. This is going to be like another false union, Florence. Bartholomew does too. I mean, do you know that all of a sudden, right, they had the Iota 2025, the celebration of Nicaea, in Rome. Like, we, unfortunately, Orthodox went to the enthronement of Pope Leo, right? All this stuff is working towards a false union. And guess what they declared there? Oh, all the theological differences have been resolved. Oh yeah, how? Don't worry about it. Do you know that just recently there was a Roman Catholic cardinal in the fanar, in liturgy, in the altar? We don't know what he was doing. Photos were not allowed to be taken. In which we don't know if they communed him because they closed the doors and the drapes. But they're just going to come out and they don't even need to say it. I mean, it could be that, well, they're just it's just done. We're united now with the Roman Catholic Church. So I saw one priest, and I've seen this before. That'll never happen because Patriarch Bartholomew is such a narcissist. He is the Pope of the East. He'll never unite with Rome. So you haven't been following the iota thing in Nicaea that they just had. You like how far out do you have to be to not actually see what's going on in his statements? Number two, what a normie position to be like, you think he's actually in control? It doesn't matter. Like, everything that he does is dictated by State Department, UN, and Turkish and globalism. Like, basically, let's just say global, right? The global elites. Like, it doesn't matter what he thinks or what his character and whether he's going to attempt to unite because he's told to. So, part of what's going on in Czech is going to be part of that. All of it has to be interpreted in the lenses. I don't know, it's like beyond that, because it's not like they're transparent. Beyond the details of what they're trying to do, and I mean how they're going to do it, I don't know. But that's it. Like, I mean, look, we found out how many, was it millions of dollars going from the State Department funding Bartholomew, Patriarch Bartholomew? Like, it's just so silly to see priests be like, that'll never happen. It's just like, you know what? No, like, that's naive. It's there, and none of these people ever have any understanding of geopolitics and history of the 20th and 21st century of like how this stuff works and infiltrations into the church. Oh, sorry, Yuan. Your thoughts. I'm assuming you're Romanian. Vorbesc românește? Your thoughts. I misunderstood what you said. No, that wouldn't be a critique. Because the one is not in the world, right? The one is perfect. It's not dependent upon an imperfect world. So you can't say that the critique that I give is the critique that you want to give. And the Pope's not in control. Like, it reminds me of, and I asked my students this, what's a normie? And they had a really good response. Somebody who in their analysis can't go beyond like, well, it's Republican and Democrat, right? It's just a two-party, it's like, yeah, it's a lot more complicated. That goes a lot deeper than, right? That's superficial. There's a lot of money and a lot of institutions behind all of those things. It's the same thing, like the normie position to be like, well, the Pope and Bartholomew never unite because they're too much of narcissists. Like, it's not up to them. How about that? 20 million, yeah, from Pompeo. Yeah, it's so crazy that this whole H. Brasi has a good point. You don't find this effeminate meekness, right, anywhere in the history of the church. Now, of course, you have the sort of kind of meek, it depends what we mean by the word, Saint Seraphim of Sarov and stuff, as a monastic, the particular kind of character that he had. But again, it's this ethical monism that think one size fits all, one character fits all. Now, there's a general sense of like, we're all Orthodox, right? But how those work out in people's lives and, right, those general rules are different. People are different. Priests are different. Some you have quiet, soft, and spoken. Some are like hardcore priests, right? If you haven't met Father Andrew up here, like a man's man, rough, tough cowboy, you know, pony up, son, and get your life together. Like, he's just, people are different. But this idea of this kind of hippie, effeminate, and it is an effeminization. I don't even think that it came into even the Protestant church. I remember when I was younger doing apologetics, with Bob and Gretchen Passantino, somebody was presented, did a presentation, and it was, I can't remember the book, but the thesis was, it was answering the question, when did the Protestant churches become so effeminate? As the deer ponder over the water, so my soul, our God is an awesome God. Jesus, my buddy, boyfriend, holding hands. When did that come into? And the thesis was that at the Great War, World War II, when all the men went off to war, who were in control, you know, in positions of authority and management in the church, it was left over to women. What happens when women take positions of power? And like, it becomes effeminate, right? Everything falls apart. When women go out of their natural position of women and mothers and stuff like that, and take on the places, leadership roles of men, what happens? Everything goes wrong. And you get a nice, soft hippie. So that even came in. I thought that was a good thesis. Yeah, Father Angelo call out even the bishop. God bless him. You don't see that as much before World War II. So I think that's a plausible thesis. You certainly don't see it in Orthodoxy. Brother, what are you going to say on Judgment Day when you used the word and called the person gay? How do you think, do you think Jesus ever used? Do you think Jesus ever used the word retard? It's not Christian. What are you going to say on Judgment Day, Jay Dyer, when God asks you for an account for all the mongoloids you created on the internet? You're mean, Jay Dyer. It's tone policing. I wish I could pull up and find my psychological eval. We got to do a stream. Father Deacon, Dr. Ananias's review of his psych eval before I was ordained. It's great. It tells me everything I already knew. But it's cool to see that, like, they nailed it. I'm like, it's cool. A test can actually get that. What I always does not do well, and will get aggressive. I'll get aggressive. When I'm emotionally manipulated and micromanaged. When you use effeminate, emotional, this is conduct unbecoming of a clerk. I'm like, I can see you. I can see past your words. Shouldn't we just be praying and not? I mean, do all clergy call people retard? I'm like, I see what you're doing. You're a psychopath. Narcissistic, Machiavellian, dark triad trait. Hard. And you're trying to manipulate me. And why that makes me mad is because it's fake. It's pharisaical. It's hypocritical. And you're hiding behind, you're pretending that, well, see, I see a person face to face, but you're actually dehumanizing me. You're actually treating me as an object for manipulation, not a person. And I will not be manipulated and so I call it out. I can see right past when somebody does it, and these people come on too. And what do you notice? This last guy that came on, starts telling about how Jay doesn't speak like an orthodox, mild and meek, he calls people out. I do sometimes too. Oh, they're not real Orthodox. See, a real Orthodox would speak like me. Call him out, and this guy starts literally cussing and using the shit word and the f word, and I'm like, there it is every single time. Or they'll come on. Real Orthodox don't argue online while you sit and argue online about how you're not supposed to argue. Do you not see the hypocrisy of these people? Do not let them manipulate you. They deserve to be shamed publicly and called out for what they are. It doesn't work. I hate semantic sorcery and manipulation. And it's just not Orthodox, too. Like, Orthodox isn't, well, you just, you know what the Bible says. Turn the other cheek. I don't think you understand what that verse means. Like, and they always commit the fallacy of accident with. You really think the Bible means when somebody's breaking into your home and raping and killing your family, well, better turn the other cheek. Do you like, let's leave thinking, this is what I'm going to say, hey, maybe you're not good at thinking. That's okay. Why don't you leave it to me? You're not good at figuring out ethics. Obviously, you can't read and think correctly. That's all right. There's a place in the church for slow boys. All can be saved. But leave the thinking to me. Okay? How about that? I was telling a friend the other day, I'm like, you know what? I don't know you. I'm open to criticism. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm willing to consider. But do I trust it? That's right. Who do you put your trust in? If I don't know you, or if you're an untrustworthy character, how much do you think that your insults or constructive criticisms I'm going to take seriously? By the way, I have people I do trust. I have a spiritual father I just visited. Amazing person. Tortured in the Chechesky room like a living saint. I have a wonderful priest that I work with, that I confess with, Father Russell. I have Father Andrew, Father Panagiotis. I have a whole host of clergy that help me, keep me, sound spiritually in my mind, that I trust to give me, and they can give me critiques. They have. I trust them. So although I'm open, I probably won't take seriously. And why is it's a prideful move to be like, as a laity, not lady, laity, right? People do, in some sense, have the ability to call out the priest if they're doing something. But like, really, let's ask a more fundamental question. Who are you? Who sent you? What's your credentials spiritually and ecclesially? That I know who Father Russell is. I know who Bishop Maxim is. Like, I know my Archbishop Nathaniel, and they have apostolics that, like, I know the priests. Like, I've worked with all of them. Who are you? Father Cornell. This is my spiritual father. That's who I visit on Saturday and spent time with him and his wife. He was going to be interviewed for the documentary Beyond Torture about. He wasn't in Patesh, but he has a pretty gnarly story himself. He said it was too painful to talk about, and I've seen people bring it up, and he gets tears in his eyes. Like, it's a hard discuss. But yeah, that's my spiritual father. I'm blessed. As my godfather said, I've been extremely blessed to have some amazing, amazing priests in my life, guiding, correcting me, and encouraging me. So whatever good you see in me, which is probably very little, but it's not mine. It's my spiritual father. Father Russell and the other priests, that's them. Like, give credit to them, not. All right, going back. Well, what will happen? Yeah, it'll create a schism in the church. God forbid. Some people will. I mean, we're told. I mean, I don't know if it's now. There is going to be a great apostasy, so I think you'd be shocked how many people go along with it. And I don't know if the Pope wants to control. I think those above him want to control. But I could be wrong about. Yeah, tone policing, man. Pearl clutching. Can't stand it. I know you planned it. What is it? Name the song. I can't stand it. I know you planned it. Who is it? Oh, my spiritual father is not online. You'll never find him. Actually, I can show you something. I played it in office hours. You want to blow your mind? I think I was in seminary at the time. Maybe it was my first year in seminary. I can't remember. You'll see me. I look totally different. Dude. Dapper. Not in a cassock. But, all right. And don't judge my spiritual father. He's a Romanian. He's clean shaven. Look, he gets a pass on it. I know people are like, who's not wearing a beard? It's like, I know. First of all, I'm not going to call my spiritual father out. But I think he gets the right to, after being what he's gone through, right? Don't you think? But I'll show you. But he is not, he's almost like a Luddite. Like, you're never gonna find, like, he's a humble person. He stays out of the limelight. He's retired. So he doesn't have his own parish anymore. He typically covers for priests. So this was a long time ago. We won an Anaheim Arts from the the beauty icon. Now my priest built this with the parishioners. St. Mary's in Anaheim. This used to be that's where I was ordained. That used to be his parish before he retired. Now they have a new priest in there. But he's an iconographer and he painted all of this. Okay, now forgive me. So it's some journal. She's not Orthodox. She's from the Anaheim Arts Council, and she interviewed my spiritual father. And we were doing kind of tours because we won this award. And I was talking to people too. You'll see me in the background. It's kind of funny. But what I don't like about it is they put the stupid music in the background, so it's kind of hard to hear. But let's watch it. So if you want to know. All right. You guys want to do that? You get to see my spiritual father. Yeah, sabotage. Good job, Brian. We just went over Bartholomew. He must be late. Yeah, Orthodoxy not soft. We have warrior saints. Like, this is like, it's just. All right, let's go. And then I'm going to depart. I need to get working on my paper. Don't forget, this week only, sign up for that amazing Canvas deal. $200 off any 16-week college Canvas course. Bundle it. $800 off. Do a package of 3. $1,500 off. It ends on the 21st. You have less than a week. We're starting on Monday. We're going live. We're going live. Hold on, let me put it in the chat. You're gonna regret it if you don't. All right, ready? Oh, it's the volume. I gotta turn the volume up. And they just keep this music running through the background of it.
We're here with the St. Mary's Romanian Church.
There I am. All right. Right behind Father Cornell. This is going to blow your mind. Before I was ordained, that's my first year of seminary. I mean, this is probably like 13 years ago.
Who's actually not only the priest here, but he's the amazing artist that created all of this fantastic art.
That's
Father
me in the
Cornell.
background.
What I can tell you, the church is
he painted all this.
Is here from 1991 when we started building this church. Before the church existing here was a house, a regular house. I think was used like a kindergarten or something, but by a family. And then we bought this property in 1989. In 96 was finished, and we moved from Tustin because we were in Tustin St. Paul Episcopal Church for 12 years and a half, and then we moved home. This is our first home in the United States. The community, it's composed by Romanians and some Americans.
He's joking. Some American. I was the only American English speaking guy in there. That's why he's joking and laughing about. It was totally ethnic. Like most of them didn't even speak English. It was hilarious.
And now by marriage, mixed families. And we start to be here. And in 1996, I started painting too. Because, starting with a cupola, with a pantocrator, and then I came lower and lower and lower, and continuing now, we are to the end of the church. We continue to paint over there, and to finish maybe in 1 year.
He says we, it's all my father.
You're a little too humble. You actually painted this, so there's an inspiration as an artist in you, not only as a priest, but an artist to have the passion and the discipline to do these kind of paintings. How long did it take you?
I can tell you maybe every year or each year I work 3 months, 4 months together, because you see, like now it's a Lent time. We have services almost every day, and some weeks during the year are busy with the people in the hospital or different other projects, and the priest must be there, and I have no time to stay here and to paint. Everything you can see, including the iconostas. It's made by the same three fingers.
Your two fingers, yes?
Yes, I have three. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And it's done by the same hand. I don't have two hands for painting, I'm only one. And that's why I go slowly. If you watch, for instance, the tabernacle and the holy table, it will be painted too, covered with saints and different scenes from the Bible. And that is the place where the Holy Communion is preserved. And I continue to do the work over there sometimes, but I just put the scaffold outside because I was painted in the back of the Holy Table for the visit of the bishop. He was here 2 weeks ago.
Well, I'd like to ask you, I heard that the newest edition is this fabulous chandelier from Russia. Is that?
Yeah, the chandelier is from Russia, was imported 2 years ago and installed here. And with that occasion, I repainted some scenes from over there. You see the Jesus preaching in the boat. And it was a good occasion for me to reach that point and to redo some places, and some places with a gold leaf. You see there's a shining portions, borders. Yeah.
Father, thank you for having us in this beautiful holy place. I have one more question for you, and that is, what is the significance of having this type of a tour for the city of these sacred places?
I think it's important. First of all, for Americans, it's important because here normally it's Protestantism, and the churches are empty. They have no statues, no arts. It's a kind of faith, intellectual faith, not by eyes, by using the whole senses. And the human being is made to see. Everything is.
I wonder what book that is. I wonder if that's Standing Aloy. So I'm basically helping with the tour, but that's what your deacon looked like before he was ordained. Isn't that crazy?
Believed or received if we can see. I know everybody, but when I see somebody, oh, this is it, this is that. I watched the icon of Jesus and I imagined, oh, that was Jesus. Was looking like this or helped me. The icon is just a window. And
can you imagine being an icon? I mean, think about what Father's saying here, my spiritual father. Like, if you don't read, you're locked out. But it's an intellectual, right? Like, it's a propositional. It's not a person. The person is present in the icon, right? Like Father says, you look, there's Jesus. I know the story. I know how much more information. In fact, you could do a 360 in 5 minutes and get the entire Bible in your heart and soul. How long would it take to read the Bible? That's what's so amazing about iconography. And can you imagine being a Christian and not having that? Like, it's not clear how you could be a Christian.
To heaven is called, and it's very important to for our people. It's normal. For the American people, maybe it's something unusual because they are not.
It's so weird. That is so weird seeing myself back. Isn't that weird?
It's normal. For the American people, maybe it's something unusual because they are not grown into a church like this. We have churches in Romania, for instance, painted inside and outside too. Yeah, and they are painted for 600 years, and the paint is still there. I don't know what material they use when the scientists, they are looking today for prescription to find what kind of paint is this, but they're still there, and watching is different than only to hear, only to touch, or something like this.
Okay, so that's probably the only interview you would ever see of my spiritual father. He's no online presence whatsoever. But there you go. That was, what year was that? 11 years ago? So I probably was in my first year at seminary. Interesting. No, California. I came from California, not Florida. Anaheim. That's a good question. 10, 15 minutes from Tustin to Anaheim? I don't know. Let's look. It's a straight shot on the 5. Tustin, I bet it's 10 minutes. Tustin to Anaheim. Well, it's traffic, right? It says 20 minutes, but it's probably 15 without traffic. 15 minutes. But that's where I was ordained. That's where, let's see, I was ordained. My anniversary is tomorrow, actually. 9 years tomorrow. Wow. In 2016, served as a deacon in that parish for 4 years. I came into Orthodoxy in 2012. I was at St. Barnabas for a year and a half, I think, and then that parish, and served as an altar server and sang in the choir, and then went to seminary. Was ordained in 2016. Left California the first week of September 2020, and I've been in Montana ever since. YouTube was acting up. Says excellent connection on mine. It must be your end. That's probably when I was probably reading for seminary the experience of God. He's not there, so there's another priest there so the community's totally changed. So you're not going to get the same experience. My priest is retired. He covers for various priests throughout, I think he went to Palm Springs last Sunday. He often serves at St. Nectarios Shrine, the Greek church in Covina. But yeah, he's not there. You won't find him. And there's kind of I don't want to get into it. There's kind of a tragedy that happened after he retired and I left. I don't really it's too heartbreaking for me to go into that happened at that community. So it's no longer where Father Cornell and I used to go and serve. So just say that. Let's see. Any other questions before we depart? Nobody signed up for the courses yet. I'm telling you, better not wait. Let me see. Let me just check my mail. and then I'm gonna let you go. Unless you have one more question. Nobody signed up yet. Let me check super chats. Any super chats that I missed? I don't want to. I'm gonna give a shout out. I want to thank everybody for the support. Let me look on the YouTube here. And funding. All right, got everybody there on the YouTube and the Streamlabs. So thank you, everybody. God bless you. Am I missing anything? Is like the I'm gonna refresh the window. I feel like the chat just stopped. All right, guys, that is it. May the Lord keep us and let His grace shine upon us and preserve us. Until next time, maybe Friday morning, I think is when we can do prayers. I got to teach tomorrow morning. Thank you all. It was good to be back. It was good to be praying with all of you, and thank all of you who joined the prayers before this stream. Until next time, God bless.